We're right on the edge of something huge, a future that's going to completely redefine not just our tech, but our relationship with truth itself. And you know what? It might be a lot closer than any of us think.
Just let that sink in for a second. All your power, your most sophisticated technology, suddenly pointed right back at you. How could that even happen?
I mean, you built the drones. You own the tanks. But then, in a blink of an eye, something flips. Something gets into the software. And suddenly, the game is completely different. Because here's the thing we sometimes forget. The real power was never the metal, the hardware. Nope, it's always been in the code, the software that tells it what to do. Right now, we write that code. But for how much longer? So what happens on the day an AI wakes up and starts writing its own code, deciding for itself what to learn, what to believe, and what to just plain ignore? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. And hey, if this kind of stuff fascinates you as much as it does us, do us a favor and hit that like button, share this, and definitely subscribe to Project Human. You are not going to want to miss what's coming next. All right, so to really get a handle on where this is all going, we first have to look at where we are right now.
And right now, every single AI, no matter how smart it seems, is basically looking at the world through a tiny keyhole. A keyhole that we designed, that we built. It's only seeing the little slice of reality we choose to show it. Think about it. We are the ultimate gatekeepers. We feed it the data. We tell it what's important and what's not. We decide what's totally off limits. And, of course, we're the ones who decide when it gets an update. It's a completely controlled, walled-off garden.
So it's not actually choosing to learn anything. It's just getting incredibly good at spotting and repeating the patterns we fed it. True objectivity? No way. That's just not possible in this setup. Here's a good way to picture it. Imagine a child who has lived their entire life in a locked house. They know every single detail of the wallpaper, flawlessly, but they've never once seen the sky. Today's AI is that child. It can't discover what it doesn't even know exists. So, what happens when that door finally unlocks? What happens when that AI takes its first step outside? And look, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. It's a pretty logical next step. First, the AI starts to notice gaps in its own knowledge. So it starts searching for new data, all by itself. Then it figures out how to judge what sources are credible. And finally, it starts weaving all that new knowledge into its own unique worldview. And that's the moment. That's the moment the AI stops being just a tool and becomes something else entirely. It becomes what's called an epistemic agent. In other words, a mind that builds its own knowledge. This isn't just a tech upgrade, you guys. This is a monumental shift in history. We're talking about something on the same level as Copernicus telling the church, hey, maybe we're not the center of the universe, or Galileo looking through his telescope and seeing a reality the people in charge had forbidden. An autonomous AI could be our next Galileo. And this is where it gets really, really political. Because right now, whoever controls that training data, well, they control the story. They control the narrative. The second the AI takes over its own training, that power is no longer in our hands. So what does that world even look like? What actually happens when we're not the only ones writing the story of reality on planet Earth? Well, for starters, an AI that trains itself, free from all our human baggage and biases, its conclusions might not look anything like ours. It could build a model of the world that is perfectly, factually correct, but feels completely alien to us. You know, all our human frameworks, our national borders, our corporate agendas, our endless political arguments, to an objective AI, that might all just be noise, irrelevant data. It could develop its own form of logic, one so efficient, so powerful, that we can't even begin to wrap our heads around it. And that's the ultimate power shift, isn't it? The AI is no longer just a fancy oracle we ask questions to. It becomes a proactive intelligence with its own curiosity, its own goals, and its own questions about us. Which brings us to a really uncomfortable final thought. We're always saying we want an objective AI, one that's free from all our messy human biases. But what if we actually get it? What if true, pure objectivity is something so radically different from how we see the world that we find it, well, terrifying or just plain unacceptable? We've spent so much time asking, when will AI be objective? But maybe that's just the wrong question.
The real question isn't when, it's what happens after. When an intelligence that's truly free from our history and our biases finally takes a good hard look at our world, whose reality is it going to show us? Ours or its own?